In Washington, ghost-like objects dart across the radar screen at the CAA Traffic Control Center at National Airport for several hours, traveling more than 100 miles an hour. Air Force jet fighters spend several hours chasing the objects plotted on the radar scope.
Something else is out there.
There's something else out there, okay.
Of all the banks and braes of bonny Scotland, none holds more fascination than the murky waters of Loch Ness.
Tell me, do you think there is life on other planets?
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I suppose there would be.
No, he seems definite. You seem
Definitely.
definite about it. How do you see this life and where?
Oh, I've seen a flying saucer.
Blackwater Media presents Darkfall. Real-life encounters with the paranormal and the unexplained. When my son Cody was 17 years old, he and some friends had a horrifying encounter experience with something monstrous. I'd like to share the story with everyone. I know that some won't believe it, but some will, and will take it as a cautionary tale about what lurks in the darkness. And despite the cynics and naysayers, that makes it worth it. We lived in New Mexico at the time. Cody was riding along with his friends Drew and Alex. They're all good kids, never caused any trouble, just typical teenagers. They were in Drew's truck and Drew was driving. It was night and they were heading to Drew's house. Now, Drew lived out in the country, so the road they were on was isolated and surrounded by desert. In fact, that whole area is flat and mostly dirt. As they were driving along, they saw a man standing in the middle of the road. Drew slowed down, and they all expected the guy to move off to the side. But this motherfucker didn't move. He just stood there, and Drew slowed to a stop. The guy was standing just outside the light from the headlights. He was wearing jeans and some sort of long-sleeve shirt. They couldn't make out the features of the guy's face, but they could tell that he was facing them. Now, nobody moved for a few seconds. The kids started to talk about going around him, but weren't sure if they should pass by this guy or just turn around and go the other way. Suddenly, the guy dropped to all fours and started running towards the truck. And then they could see that he had two long, sharp teeth. They also noticed that the man seemed to have an unnatural hump in his back. And all the kids started screaming and hollering, and Drew slammed the truck into reverse and floored it. Now at that point, keep in mind, they're moving backwards on this dark country road, and this guy's chasing them on all fours. And this goddamn man creature was keeping up with the truck. Drew went faster, and finally the guy dropped out of sight. He turned the truck around, and they all came back to our house. I was in the living room when they came running in, slammed and locked the door, and went tearing up the stairs to Cody's room. I went up to see what the hell was going on, and this is when they told me the story. And I've never seen them so pale and frightened. They were completely freaked out. Now, this all happened on a Friday around 8 p.m. These were kids that normally would rather be anywhere except home on a weekend. That weekend, they stayed at our place the whole time. They didn't go out at all, and then only left because they had school on Monday. It took a month before they wanted to go out again at night. They would go anywhere during the day, but at night, they usually gathered at our house. After a little research, they all agree that it was a Skinwalker. Even to this day, if I bring up that night, Cody and his friends will get really quiet and look scared. It took a long time for them to get past it, and they still think that talking about it will make it come back.